Welcome to Tip of the Iceberg. Let's check out some videos.
Disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions are that of Tip of the Iceberg. Please do your own research as the clips haven't been fact-checked.
What a monster! What a monster! What the? Wow! I don't even know what to say. So close to him. Yep. Okay, guys. Crossing the road right in front of us. Power 5.
I don't think I'd be driving towards that thing. What do y'all think?
You know, when I was younger, I remember the snow falling down and it was actual snowflakes. This new stuff that they're dropping out of the sky, I don't know what it is, but as we went over, it's not snow. It's crazy, bro.
If you live where it snows, I'd like to hear from you. Is this normal?
Half the country saw the Northern Lights. This is HARPS, and they were running major tests. HARPS is a research program based out of Alaska that studies auroras, aka the Northern Lights. You may not think this is important, but this part of the atmosphere we use every day for GPS navigation and communication. And they are running studies because this level of the earth and ground act as a waveguide. So if this layer is manipulated or affected enough, that means no radio communication. And scientists were even worried before the lights even happened. It's also believed this part of the atmosphere could be heating up and cause weather changes on Earth. Therefore, yes, the view was beautiful and I'm pissed I missed out, but it may not be a good thing.
We all know the Earth is actually... Okay, no, we're not doing that. What? Yeah, we're doing this? For real? Why do I have to be that guy? What is beyond the ice wall of Antarctica? Disclaimer, obviously a theory and should be considered for entertainment purposes only. Yes, this is the ridiculous Earth plane theory, or at least a part of it. Now, personally, I think this map is complete bullcrap. There's just countless evidence that goes against it. Before ever even considering a theory, you always need to look for some sort of tangible proof. And these mysterious blue shards reported in a leak from Antarctic research labs are a little more revealing. They were leaked by this helicopter engineer who was contracted to work at McMurdo Station in Antarctica from 1997 to the year 2000. And if you don't know, McMurdo Station is usually where shit goes down. So this engineer, let's call him Jimmy Boy, claimed that he befriended a few of the scientists doing research there in 1998. The scientists told him that they had two types of ice they worked with down there. There was this ice that they drilled cores out of boreholes in the ground that was cold to the touch, usually clear or some shade of white, and melted into water. Almost all of Antarctica is covered with this type of ice, which is just normal ice. Clearly, this wasn't their main focus of research. The only times they ever actively study this ice is when film crews from like National Geographic came down to film a documentary. The other 95% of the time, they studied the forbidden sky ice, totally different than the ice that we're used to. Jimmy wasn't allowed in the labs where they studied sky ice because it was, you know, super duper top secret. But one time, one of the scientists he got close with showed him a piece of the ice, and it was unlike any other matter he's ever seen on Earth. First of all, you couldn't touch it with your bare hands and had to wear your heavy-duty South Pole exploration gloves when holding it because of how cold it was. Secondly, as you can tell, it was this solid deep blue color, allegedly composed mainly of oxygen, and is why they called it sky ice. And oh man, I haven't even scratched the surface of how deep this goes. Oxygen has a freezing point of about negative 218 degrees Celsius, which is when it turns into a solid, so you'd practically get frostbite just by looking at it. Jimmy held it for a bit with his gloves, of course, noting that it was lighter than regular ice, almost like he could have thrown it up in the air and it would have floated back down. It was also slightly flexible and completely opaque, so you couldn't see through it at all. And it didn't even melt into water when it got warm, but just continually shrank until it ceased to exist, likely turning directly into oxygen gas, which is why they had to study it in Antarctica. They couldn't even transport it to anywhere in the world before it disappeared. The Russians knew about this too, and it's part of the reason they all have research stations down there. After 15 minutes or so, the sky ice was almost completely gone, and Jimmy asks his research friend where they even get this ice from. And this is where it gets interesting. Because to that, the scientist replied, they get it from the wall. According to him, if you you go deep enough, hundreds of kilometers inland from the coast, you'll run into a huge wall in Antarctica that contains this sky ice, the biggest natural structure in the world. This sounds a lot like the infamous ice wall from the pancake Earth theory, which states there's a giant wall of ice that surrounds our entire planet, and there's even more land beyond this wall if you somehow manage to get past it, including the legendary lands of Atlantis, Mu, the Garden of Eden, and even Asgard. Obviously just an incredible stretch of a theory, but interesting to see the ice wall mentioned in a scientific setting here. Now, buckle in, cause this is where it actually gets insane, in case you felt like it wasn't already. The US has known about this sky ice for decades, and back in the 60s, they actually tried boring a tunnel through the ice wall. They built a special boring machine made for the super cold temperatures of the sky ice wall and started digging. For the first 2 miles or so, the floor was solid rock, but after that, even the ground under them became the bright blue sky ice, until they got about 5 to 10 miles deep after an entire year of boring, which is pretty damn far and still no sight of the other side. When they realized the tunnel was shrinking and eventually got so small that they could barely even move their machine anymore. Turns out sky ice, when exposed to warmer temperatures, just dissipates into thin air, but in colder temperatures, like inside the tunnel, it regenerates itself. Eventually, the tunnel got so tight it became too difficult to continue boring, so they scrapped the project, ditched the machine, and after many decades, the hole they dug into the wall has now been completely sealed. Now, some people say this sky ice wall sounds almost exactly like what would be called the dome or the firmament in the horizontal earth, or at least fragments of it, and even the most popular book in the world had something to say about it. Ezekiel 1:26 reads, "And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone." Now, whether you believe in the Bible or not, we can all agree it is by definition a historic text. Text that was written sometime in history. Firmament over their heads, appearance of a sapphire stone. I mean, I really don't want to believe this is true, and who knows, maybe this entire sky ice Antarctica story is just completely made up, but as always, what if?
In the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 6 through 8, God states, He made a firmament and He separated the waters from the waters above and the waters below. What do y'all think? You think this sky ice is part of the firmament?
It's time to sound the alarm. We've been distracted. Guys, I'm not playing, and this is not a drill. It's time to start preparing. Preparing food, water, etc. Sources say China will invade Taiwan in early June. And it gets much worse than this, and global press is a very trusted source. Now the insane part, early June, probably sooner. Right this minute, China literally has Taiwan completely surrounded in the Taiwanese Strait and the Pacific Ocean. Again, completely surrounded. This is both military boats and military planes. Why? Well, this screenshot alleges serving as punishment for the Separation Act of Taiwan. Punishment. And also warning of interference, provocation by external forces like us. But wait, that's not all. We literally have a standoff happening right now between Taiwan and China. No wonder for the King's portrait and the Diddy bull crap. Makes sense now, right? Get ready.
Ukraine, Israel, and now China. It's just a matter of time before we have a full-fledged World War III.
A 200 million man army marching across the earth? Well, it's happening, and the Bible prophesied it. This 200 million man army would walk across a recently dried up Euphrates River, which the Bible also prophesies about, which is happening right now. The crazy part of this prophecy is not only is the Euphrates River drying up, but never before in history has there been a 200 million man army until now. For the first time ever, China and Russia have formed a military alliance. With both of these prophecies coming to pass, we now know more than ever before that we are living in the end times. If you believe that we're living in the end times and that Jesus is coming soon, subscribe or follow now.
Could we be witnessing the starting of the Battle of Armageddon? What do you think? Please comment below.
Facts Science Can't Explain, Part 4. Everyone has experienced the last one. There's a place on Earth known as the Zone of Silence in Mexico, where clocks don't work, radios stop functioning, and compass spin violently when placed on the ground. Science doesn't explain why or how that happens. Did you know that TikTok knows who your truest friend is? Your secret keeper is the second person that pops up when you click on share, then select more. Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, remains one of the world's biggest mysteries. This infamous stretch of water between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico has been the subject of credible countless stories about ships and planes that vanished without a trace. If you comment, shock, you will unlock this secret TikTok emoji, the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where a large group of people remember something inaccurately. One example is the false memory that Nelson Mandela died in prison, although he was released and became South Africa's president. And now, before the last fact, support us by pressing the follow button for more interesting content every day. Tip of the tongue moment, when you feel you know something but can't recall it. The mechanisms behind this mental lag are still unknown.
The Mandela effect's always been an interesting one for me. I used to think it was more like a game of telephone, that something started off a long time ago, and as we got through time, people just remembered it differently or heard it differently until the fruit of the loom. I remember specifically as a child having a cornucopia in that logo, and I know this because I didn't know what a cornucopia was, and that's how I learned what it was. Now it seems like these companies are just trying to gaslight us. What do you think?
Now, common logic would suggest that the longest route would go between somewhere in southern Africa to somewhere else in eastern Russia, but common logic is wrong. There are a few issues. First, almost every direct route heading up the African continent routes via the west side of the continent, which brings a traveler to here, Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Just across the river from Kinshasa is Brazzaville in the Republic of the Congo, but no bridge spans between the two country capitals. The fastest routes between southern Africa and Asia also almost always route through Western Europe rather than the Middle East, since the highways are better developed and faster. But this means that a traveler has to cross the Mediterranean by ferry, which disqualifies this route. So, we have to originate in Europe. In Europe, the most extreme point on the contiguous road network is Sagres, Portugal. And then you can drive as far east as the banks of the Aldan River in Russia. That's 8,437 total miles, but it's not quite the farthest you can drive. It's an even longer distance to drive here. Kasan is the only Russian town to border North Korea, and it's also the most extreme point on their road system. With no ferries and only 2 customs checkpoints thanks to the European Union, you can therefore drive continuously for 8,726 miles in 6 days and 19 hours from Sagres, Portugal to Kasan, Russia, and that is the longest continuous direct driving route in the world.
You're welcome. More useless information.
If you think vegans take themselves a little too seriously, meet this woman who claimed she had managed to turn her dog into a vegetarian. She confidently claimed it would go for the bowl full of vegetables instead of the meat one. And that's when the show host decided to put it to the test.
It's got 2 bowls here, right?
Oh, no.
One is full of vegetables and one is full of meat. Let her go, Amy. Let her go.
Oh, she's obviously going to go, obviously. Oh, you little...
Yes.
I didn't swear.
And there is...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I would have bet everything on that outcome.
Did Nikola Tesla really know the secret behind the pyramids? According to Tesla, the pyramids were more than just ancient tombs or architectural marvels. He believed that they held a hidden power, a mysterious energy source waiting to be unlocked. Tesla speculated that the pyramids were designed to harness and transmit wireless energy, tapping into the Earth's natural electromagnetic field. In his view, these majestic structures acted as gigantic power plants, capable of transmitting energy across vast distances. Imagine a world where electricity flowed freely, wirelessly, without the need for cumbersome cables or grids. Tesla envisioned a future where the pyramids' technology could be harnessed, revolutionizing the way we power our world. While Tesla's theory remains speculative, it challenges us to think beyond conventional wisdom. It sparks curiosity and invites us to explore the mysteries of the past. So the next time you gaze upon the pyramids, let yourself wonder, could there be more to these ancient wonders than meets the eye?
There's nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 through 11.
Free, unlimited energy for the entire world. They really tried to tell us it wasn't possible. Alright, calm down there, Mr. First Law of Thermodynamics, because we had one of the smartest people in history on the job. It said that Nikola Tesla actually invented a system for free, wireless electricity accessible by everyone on Earth. Turns out, he may not have been the one who came up with it, but was using ancient knowledge over 5,000 years old. Tesla is famously quoted as saying, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." What was he trying to tell us? He has quite the resume. The founder of alternating current, which runs our entire power grid today, and was also a huge advocate of free wireless electricity, which is exactly what his Wardenclyffe Tower project intended to do. A structure that was designed to harness energy from the natural vibrations of the earth and convert them into electric potential. Exactly what the Giza power plant theory suggests the pyramids were built and used for. Tesla publicly demonstrated his use of wireless electricity by famously lighting light bulbs without any wires attached to them. Wardenclyffe Tower was the scaled up version of that, and millionaire JP Morgan saw incredible potential in profiting from Tesla's ideas, so he helped fund the construction of this tower. And just like the pyramids, it was built directly on top of underground aquifers, cavities beneath the surface with powerful flowing water that produced natural vibrations, using copper wires and iron rods extending deep beneath the surface to transmit this energy up through the tower and into the atmosphere, then distribute that energy wirelessly around the world for anyone to use through a conductive layer of Earth's ionosphere. According to him, Earth was a giant electrical generator spinning around two magnetic poles, which it is, and it produces a ton of energy. In the 1897 patent Tesla filed, he claimed that at a certain altitude above the Earth, there's a stratum of air that can conduct electric currents, which at the time was considered wacky pseudoscience, but in 1952 was discovered to actually exist, known as the Schumann resonances. Through this conductive layer of the atmosphere, the electricity would theoretically be distributed around the world via a network of receiving towers. Tesla, along with many eyewitness reports, claimed that the tests of the tower in 1903 were incredibly successful. They lit up the night sky and even powered nearby objects. Newspapers even reported on it, like this: Tesla's amazing plan to harness free currents, back when you could actually report on the news without getting censored. But ask any debunker who wasn't there and they'll tell you these towers didn't produce enough electricity to be useful and were also harmful to anyone near them. In order for this network of wireless energy to work, it would need quite a few of these towers in key locations around the world. When Tesla asked JP for more money to continue his work, Mr. Morgan took a look and realized it wouldn't end well for him if he continued. JP Morgan owned General Electric, AT&T, copper and coal mines, lumber yards, rubber plants, steel mills, railroads, all of which required the consumption of traditional fuels to keep running. If he invested in more of these towers to deliver virtually free energy to everyone in the world, it would render the rest of his businesses obsolete. So he cut off funding and even told his rich friends to ignore this project, despite Tesla sending him monthly letters asking for more money for 5 years straight. Tesla lost his funding, the tower was destroyed, and he died relatively poor, having all of his work seized by the government after his death, never to be seen again. And strangely enough, the government Office of Alien Property was standing by and ready to take a shit as soon as Tesla passed in 1943, raiding his New York City apartment and warehouses, confiscating all documents, some of which were given to a certain John G. Trump. Quite an interesting tale for another time. Skeptics love calling Tesla a mad scientist crackpot, dismissing this theory as pure fiction, but his list of inventions is among the most impressive out of almost anyone in history. Along with his revolutionary experiments, Tesla invented AC electricity, which powers your home, and the electric motor. Everything you see here, as well as the remote control, the radio, improvements to the X-ray, and even predicted smartphones and the internet back in 1926. He's quoted as saying, "When wireless is perfectly applied, the whole earth will be converted into a huge brain. We shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, irrespective of distance." That's exactly what we have today. Pause if you want to read the whole quote, which, may I remind you, is 100 years old. His proposed network of towers would have supplied unlimited, clean, and basically free energy worldwide, using the principles of the Giza power plant theory, which Tesla was actually a firm believer in. He was fascinated by the pyramids of ancient Egypt and even drew inspiration from them in his work, with his devices even being referred to as Tesla's electromagnetic pyramid, based on his designs depicting the movement of energy in his towers. Well, the pyramids are suspected to have been built for the same purpose, drawing vibrational energy from the earth and distributing it around the world through the atmosphere. Would that have even been possible 5,000 years ago? Turns out it might have, with some even claiming proof as far back as 30,000 years old. I explained exactly how it would have worked back then, and we're not done diving into this one, so check it out for more.
I believe all this technology came from before the flood. You look at Matthew 24, verse 37, says, "As in the days of Noah, so shall be the days of the coming of the Son of Man. So when Jesus comes back, the world will be just like it was before the flood came upon the earth thousands of years ago. What do you think?
Your favorite rapper sold his soul, and here's proof.
So a clip went viral of NBA Youngboy rapping without auto-tune, and the only thing I can think about after listening to this is what 6ix9ine said about the music industry. You gotta watch these clips.
Drop top with a stolen car. Searching for my house. Hold on. I got my green hands on, trying to get in. What's happening?
There's no way he's making it with that kind of voice.
This is your rapper, you got 200 followers. I bet you there's rappers in here right now that can rap way better than you. You can rap way better than me. You will never be where I'm at because this industry is
politics.
Rigged. It's rigged. I always thought the industry's rigged. I'm just trying to tell. By the way, and if y'all ever see me online with 6, I don't agree with a lot of stuff. I try to challenge him, even though y'all could probably argue I should challenge more. That's one thing I did say about what he's saying. I've always believed the industry's rigged. We've just never seen an artist that's actually succeeding actually admit it's rigged. It's usually
So I'm telling you, your favorite rapper sold their soul.
Yeah, but I'm successful, and I'm telling you it's rigged. It's the artists that don't get.
The book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36. But what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, but to lose his own soul?
This is how big the hail is, close to about 4 inches across. This can come down in severe thunderstorms.
SAN's first warning weather team reports that San Marcos and Johnson City sustained significant damage from wind-blown hail. The National Weather Service even had reports of 5 inches of hail from a meteorologist and storm chaser in Johnson City in Blanco County. The NWS lists hail that size as CD or DVD size.
Well, everybody, that's the end of the video. I thank you for joining me. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. I have a bonus video for you all, so please stay tuned. Thank you, and God bless.
If I ever needed you, I need you now. There's no better time. If I ever needed you, I need you. Hey. If I